when we make games, we always try to find, like, we don't just add features for the sake of adding features. The goal is always to make meaningful contributions to the engine that the team can leverage to make the game better, or that's consumer facing for that matter. And it's always a symbiotic relationship between, like, the art department and the design department and production and technology, our engine group and the programming group. So it's not like someone, I'm going to add this feature and then you just go implement it. It's a concerted effort from all parties to make sure that what we're adding, adds value for the consumer. So when it came to reflections or ray tracing, we looked at what was available and we said, like, what is we shipped the title, what makes sense here, And to us, reflections made the most sense because it has actual tangible benefits when playing the game. In some cases, you can see, like, if I'm running around the corner, I can potentially see a mancubus around the corner from the glass that's to the right of me as I'm running down the hallway in Sam's base, for example. Or, there's a sense of satisfaction of seeing all the carnage that you cause when playing the game, reflected in the surfaces in the world, because, it's all about having really nice feedback when playing Doom Eternal. It's really important for us that there's a direct correlation between firing your weapon and what kind of impact that has onto the enemy on screen. So yeah, it was a thought out process. It wasn't just like, let's add this. It was like, what can we do? Why do we want to do this, and have good reasons for that.
The engine is very, very flexible and really, really powerful. So we put a lot of choices in the player's hands. They get to choose between on Series X and PlayStation 5, they get to choose ray tracing, or, if they have a 120 hertz monitor and want, high res, but not, 4K, but they want to run at 120 hertz and get unbelievable performance, we give them that choice. Or if they want that balanced experience and they want to play in 4K at 60, which is unbelievable as well, we give them those choices to make. So, there's the balance on the development side, but then there's also, putting a lot of those choices in the player's hands. I think what we launched, kind of getting back to my original point, I think what we launched was what we felt like was, the best version of Doom Eternal. We really had that target in mind and built the game purposefully for that target, because it's always a balance of gameplay, performance, and visual fidelity. I probably take this for granted a little bit, just how amazing our engine team is, and how truly flexible the tech is. So when we're doing that and we're having the conversations behind the scenes about what the future holds, and certainly ray tracing was part of that future, I think we always know that the tech, when something big like that is on the horizon, I think we know the tech will be able to adapt, because they've done it so many times in the past. So maybe that's the part that I just take for granted, and a lot of other teams don't have that kind of ease with which something gets better over time. We saw that the game would ultimately have an opportunity to improve from a fidelity perspective and from a performance perspective. And we're looking forward to that with the new consoles, and you're always looking forward to that with the new GPUs coming out and faster computing. When you just look at Doom Eternal broadly, I think this is just an amazing time to jump into it. If somebody hasn't played Doom Eternal yet, there's no better time than now. It's the best time since we've launched, both from a performance and a technology perspective, now being available on next gen, the latest GPUs, if you can actually get one of them, that's amazing. But also just the amount of content that's there. I mean, with the release of the Ancient Gods DLCs that we did last year and earlier this year, there's an amazing amount of content. Battle mode's as good as it's ever been. We've increased. We've had some improvements to bandwidth utilization to help some of the server hitching that was happening. So it's a great time to jump into battle mode. We're seeing people come back to the game, and we're seeing people jump in for the first time, and I really think that's because the game has improved month after month since we launched last year. I think it's awesome. I really think I think those games are very cool. I think the what you would call a kind of a movement in that area is exciting. I think I give a lot of credit to the team and to Hugo and for kind of over the course of the last many years, we said it at the beginning. If you listen to us talk about the way we approached Doom 2016, it was to go back to the feel and the fundamentals of those early Doom games and kind of the early id games, and and I think what you see in that is kind of everybody's seeing that there's a legitimacy to that. That when we talk about the fun factor of those games, it's real, and it works in Doom Eternal and Doom, and and those games are they're just fun. It's just a fun way to play. Quite honestly, I hope as people experiment in that area in playing some of those those more independent style games, or those games that are kind of bubbling up. I hope they go back and look at some of some of the original gangsters of the genre. Go back and play Doom and Doom 2. Go back and play Quake, because that is what this is. This is based on. And those games were just, and still are, amazing. I mean, they're really amazing games. And like the Doom games, we now have those available on all all current gen consoles, and they're really easy to get hands on. And again, it's I think the awesome part of that is it's just about what's fun, and there's so much there.